Hey, Michael, it's Mark with Money Show. How are you?
Hey, good Mark. I figured I'd have Charlotte again, but nice to have you. How you
Yeah,
doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. Yeah,
Good,
good.
good. All right. So we have about 5 minutes here before we start. Did you have a PowerPoint presentation today?
I do. I'm gonna pop it up right now. We do a quick test if that's okay.
Sounds perfect.
And I am not going to put it in full screen
Till we start.
until we're good. Yeah. Now, okay, so that's working for you. Can you see it moving?
Looks good.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right, perfect.
You want me to put it in full screen,
Um,
and leave it up?
I can have actually my slide up leading
Uh-huh.
up until about
Okay.
a minute and a half or so, and then I'll reach out to you and have you reshare. And then
Fine.
you
And then
can
I'll go
put
in
that in full
full
screen.
screen mode. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yep.
Sounds great. All right, so we're in a good spot here. We have you starting at 1:35 Eastern and wrapping at
Yep.
2:05 Eastern time.
30 minutes, correct?
30 minutes. That is correct.
Yep. So I'm going to set my timer on my phone and we'll be all good.
All right, sounds great. I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute, Mike. If you have any questions or anything in the meantime, I'll be here for you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. And a good day to everyone logging on to Money Show's Virtual Expo. Thank you so much for being here. We do have just under 3 minutes before the start of our next session, so sit back. We will be back with you momentarily. Thank you again for being here. All right, Michael, we're about a minute and 15 seconds out. Let's go ahead and get your screen share going here. Make sure everything looks good.
Yep.
All right, looks great.
All right. Super.
And I'll lead us off with a quick intro momentarily, and we'll be all set.
Excellent.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for logging on to Money Show's Virtual Expo Real Estate Plays for Profit and Income. We are pleased to welcome Michael Cobb, CEO and co-founder of ECI Development. With over 25 years as a multi-country developer with resort developments and projects in Belize, Nicaragua, Panama, Costa Rica, and soon Mexico, Argentina, and Ecuador. Mr. Cobb is passionate about creating community through sustainable development. Mike, thank you so much for being here today. It's all yours.
Great, Mark. Thank you very much. It's good to be back with you guys again. I was here earlier this morning talking very broadly about why go international, why diversify globally. Right now, we're going to dig into what I call the case study. It's a great case study. It's about Belize and why Belize, why right now. And I think at the end of this presentation, you'll understand exactly why Belize and why right now. I always like to point out that, this is not something new for me. I've been doing this for 33 years. I've been working overseas. I started a little mortgage company in Belize that became a bank 24 years ago. And I've been working with ECI, our development company, for 29 years. So a lot of time in the region, a lot of experience in the region, and really have watched a few very, very important things happen, Belize being the most important right now. Here's a big idea, right? Imagine you have a time machine, and you could hop on it right now. It shows up, HD Wells shows up in your living room or your office or wherever you're watching this from. It says, hey, hey, come over here, come over here. Hop on this time machine with me. I'm going to take you back 20 years. I'm going to let you have the rest of today to make one investment. Bring a check. You can make one investment. How many of us are coming back a lot wealthier? I mean, presumably all of us, right? I mean, the time machine is powerful concept. Well, I have some really, really great news. There is a time machine, and it's called the developing world. The time machine is real. It's not like a time machine. The developing world is a time machine. And so if you look at this chart, if you look at the countries that I put on here, I just simply asked myself a very simple question. I said, if a couple, young couple, gets married this Saturday in Des Moines, Iowa, where are they going on their honeymoon next Monday? Right? Pretty easy question, right? You know what? A lot of them are going to Bermuda, the Caymans, Cancun, Costa Rica. Tons of them are going there. And if you look at the bottom of the curve, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, not too many of them going there. So popularity has some important impacts on two things: the number of people traveling and the price of real estate. This is powerful information. This is your time machine. If you say, I want to make an investment in a country that's not very far back in time, you know what? Caymans, BVI, Cancun, Costa Rica. On the other hand, if you say, I want to set the dial way back, right? I want to go back 20, 30, 40 years, right? You can do that. The developing world is the time machine. Understand that concept, and you have real investment power. Belize is going to be our case study today. So Belize, I mentioned Cancun. This is the country of Belize. Cancun is about 150 miles straight north. You see Mexico, Guatemala, Belize is a lot of things. It's not one thing. It's beaches, it's towns, it's mountains, it's farmland. It's a lot of different things. But at the end of the day, it is a very uh, Caribbean country. Just the flavor of the country is Caribbean, right? It's tremendous. A lot of water activities. That's really why people have gone there. They've gone there for the Mayan ruins, the bird watching, the jungle, of course, but really for the fishing, diving, snorkeling. That has been the absolute driver of Belize's tourism business for the last 50 years. We mentioned the Mayan ruins, the jungle activities, the kinds of things that people love to do when they're in the rainforest. And Belize is incredibly blessed with pristine rainforest, tons of it across the country for things that people like to do: the hiking, the exploring. Oh, here's one. This is called cave tubing. And you literally, as you can see in this picture, you get in an inner tube and you float through caves. I've done a lot of really cool things in my life. In fact, I just got back from Japan and Mongolia. And while I was in Mongolia, I actually wrestled Mongolian wrestling. You check it out on Facebook, crazy thing. But I've done a lot of fun, neat things in my life. And cave tubing right here still ranks in the top 10 coolest things I've ever done in my life. You float through caves on an inner tube. Truly amazing. It's one of the few places in the world, in fact, it's the only place in the world that I know of that you can do that. And those are mainland activities. But when you come out to the islands, Belize has about 300 islands off the coast. This is what made Belize famous in a niche market, right? For the first 40, 50 years of Belize's tourism history and I would say, limited knowledge in the travel world. It was fly fishing and diving. Those two things drove people to Belize. serious fly fishermen who said, I want to do the Grand Slam. I want to catch a bonefish, a permit, and a tarpon all in one day in the flats, right? That's why the fly fishermen came. Obviously, you've got incredible outdoor recreation, the snorkeling, the diving. It is absolutely incredible. So let's just talk a little bit about the country to give you just a quick overview of the country itself. Very small population. You can see 360,000 folks. Very small population. Um, the most important thing on here, by the way, is the third one where it says language. English. English is the official language of Belize. And that means a lot of things. It means that all contracts and all documents are legal in English, right? The rest of Central America and even into South America, it's Spanish and it's Portuguese. And the other piece of it is that the documents themselves are in those languages and they're legal in Spanish, for example. The other thing is that the rest of Central America has what's called civil law. Civil law is very different from common law. The US and Canada, with the exception of Quebec, work on common law. And we're familiar with it. We have this idea of the spirit of the law. We can read it, we can understand it, we can say, well, this is what we were intending. Civil law is very different. So Belize, English is the official language. All documents are legal in English, and it uses the common law standards. So very, very important little facts about the country that make it, I don't know, I call it the easy button, right? Belize is the easy button for an international globalization. If you've never done an international investment, if you've never owned a property overseas, Belize, for so many reasons, is the easy button. And it's also easy to get to. And we'll talk about that later. These are the Mayan ruins. The Mayans were the first major civilization in Belize. They built incredible structures in the jungle, and then about 700 years ago, 800 years ago, they simply just faded away. But the structures still remain. It's incredible. And then around 1500, the Europeans first came and started to explore and settle the region. And the thing that drove the Europeans, especially the British and the Scotsmen, that's who really came, were the Scottish. They came in search of mahogany, the lumber, and then the purple dyes that were so rare and so expensive. And so the Europeans came around 1500, so about 500 years ago, and began settling the land at that point. But as you'll see, if you come to Belize, it's an incredibly diverse country. You've got many languages are spoken, many different heritages in the country, and it makes for a really cool place. I've got to say, I like that melding of all the different cultures. It's fun, it's interesting. The foods are outrageously delicious, and so you've got this fusion of many, many different things all going on. We touched on the legal system and the language a moment ago. I want to come back and maybe dig just a tad deeper on the business reasons people are coming to Belize, and they simply are these four things. The economy is growing. It's a very small population, 360,000 folks. So you don't have the population pressures you have in other countries. So you have this strong, growing economy without a lot of population pressures. The real estate is still very affordable. On that curve, we're going to get and talk more in detail about it, but on that popularity curve, right, you've got places like Bermuda, Bahamas, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, Turks and Caicos, even Cancun. The prices of real estate have skyrocketed because they're popular destinations. And then at the other end of the spectrum, you've got much more affordable real estate in a place like Honduras or Nicaragua or El Salvador. Belize is in the sweet spot of that curve, and we'll come back and talk about more later. Very, very important point, but still very, very affordable real estate in the country. The other thing that Belize did was, as a member of the British Commonwealth, and it used to be a British colony until 1981. Now it's part of the British Commonwealth. They have very, very strong financial services legislation, banking legislation. I helped found this bank back in as a mortgage company in 1993, hard to imagine, but in 1993, set up a little mortgage company in Belize. In 2003, we turned it into Key International Bank. And the financial services legislation, the banking legislation is excellent and strong, and Belize has become a very popular and growing financial services destination. And that's important because when people set up a trust or set up a corporation or put their money in a bank in Belize, many times they want to come see it. They want to visit it. And then when they're down there, they see what a wonderful country it is. They begin to make investments. So this path is happening, and it really due to the strong financial service legislation. And then the asset protection piece is tied into the financial services legislation with things like asset protection trusts, captive insurance products, and other things like that. So as a financial service center, Belize has really done a great job. It came kind of late to the party, right? It started really in the 90s and into the 2000s. But because it came late, it got to cherry pick the best elements of the various financial services legislations from around the Caribbean mostly, and Bermuda and Bahamas in the Atlantic. And so what they did was they really created something very, very powerful, very, very special. And it's also a driver along with the tourism for the growth of their economy and the growth of their tourism. Financing is available. We provide it. We do a ton of financing throughout the region, not just in Belize, but the bank now works in all of the countries of Central America. So I said I would come and talk about why Belize is sort of, so special right now. It's in the sweet spot of this curve. Again, you've got Bermuda, the Cayman Islands, Turks and Caicos, Cancun, Costa Rica. The prices of real estate have just gone through the roof in these places because they're very popular. Bermuda, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands. These are all financial service destinations, as Belize is as well. But they've been around a lot longer. Bermuda, 150 years, and the Cayman Islands, 75 years, right? So they're much more established, and so for the same reasons, right? The Belize is a little later to the party, but it's growing, and if you look at the popularity of the country, you see it has climbed the curve. It's now popular enough to cash flow. The honeymooners are coming there. The financial services folks are bringing people in, right? But the prices of the real estate have not gone through the roof like they have other places. That's why Belize is truly in the sweet spot of the curve. And by the way, I've been doing that. Our company has properties in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Belize, very shortly in some other countries. And so we have properties across this curve, right? But today, right now, Belize is in the sweet spot of the curve. 3, 4 years ago, it was not. And 1 or 2 years from now, it won't be. The prices of property are skyrocketing right now. And we're going to get to why that's happening in just a moment. But if you're looking for the best timing, if you're looking for that time machine opportunity to go back in time, right? This is it. And this is really what it is. Ambergris Caye, Belize really is the Bahamas or the Turks and Caicos or the Cayman Islands 20 years ago. And if you had a time machine today and you could go back in time and buy a condo or a home or a property in any of those locations, you probably would, because we know with hindsight how much more valuable those properties are today. Well, Belize is your time machine. You can go back in time 20 years and own a property today that you'll be very, very glad you owned. I've got some kind of like, now and then pictures. The airstrip was a little more advanced when I first went there in '93, but not much more advanced. And then today, tons of Cessna caravans, tons of airlift out to the island. So it's changed dramatically in, about 35 years. Overnight arrivals. Take a look at this slide. I've got two slides on here that are really, really impactful, one now and one towards the end. But you can see that the overnight arrivals went from about 200,000 to 500,000 from 29 to 2019. And then obviously COVID, things fell off incredibly, obviously. The planes weren't flying. But you can see the rebound through the end of last year to the best year ever, 560,000 folks. So yeah, tourism grew, fell off, but rebounded incredibly quickly in Belize. Overnight arrivals. These are people coming and spending the night. I mentioned that airlift is easy and affordable. Yeah, you can get here, you can get to Belize from Canada, all across Canada, all across the United States, but also from South America up through Panama. And the airlines that are flying are all the majors plus a bunch of discount carriers. And that keeps the routes and the prices very, very affordable for the average traveler. Just as point of demographics, about three-quarters of the travelers to Belize are U.S. and Canadian, but importantly, about a quarter of them aren't, and that really adds a diversification element to the client base who's coming. So very important demographics to pay attention to. And then we look at who's coming from a monetary standpoint, right? I mean, if you go to the Cayman Islands, if you go to Nevis, right, the Four Seasons and just really, really high-end hotels, a lot of these destinations have priced the middle class consumer out of the market. And we look at who's coming to Belize. It is the solid center of the middle class. You've got Southwest Airlines that kind of pick up the lower end of the middle class. You've got United, American, and others at the higher end of the spectrum. So again, solid middle class demographic traveling to Belize. One of the things that's really cool is the number of people who come to Belize over and over and over again. And when you look at the TripAdvisor reports, by the way, TripAdvisor is great because TripAdvisor is people, just regular people like you and me who go there. And then we type in, we had a great time. It was awesome. And on TripAdvisor, Belize, Ambergris Caye specifically, continues to get written up as one of the top 10 destinations in the Caribbean. And people come back over and over and over again. That really says a lot about what the consumer thinks. But if we're investors, I'm an investor, you may be an investor, right? You may decide you want to own a property there and Airbnb it, or maybe one of the branded products that we'll talk about in a moment, right? Look at what business people, right? Property owners, Airbnb owners say about Ambergris Caye. A plus, right? So not only do the consumers rank it high on TripAdvisor, the owners of the businesses, the Airbnb properties, rank it as an A plus, right? So very, very important to note. All right, here's where the fun happens, right? So we got about, I don't know, 16, 17 minutes left, and I want to make sure we leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. I hope that some of you have some insightful questions because the data here will allow you to be insightful in ways that you might not have imagined ahead of time. You know, what's really happened is we talked about the fly fishermen and the divers, we talked about the financial services legislation that came out and really in the kind of the late 80s, but into the 90s, right? So it was a niche market. It was very niche. And all of a sudden, this started to change. And this is why it's an investor alert. Okay, so Belize has gone from this niche market to a mass market. It's already done this. It's not going to do this. It has already done it. Stay tuned. I always like to put up my pizza slide. It's a weird slide, isn't it, for a presentation about Belize? What does pizza have to do with Belize? It's this. When we make an investment, this is anchovy pizza and I don't know, Hawaiian pizza, I think, on the other side, right? If you don't like anchovy pizza or you don't like, Hawaiian pizza, right? But you own a pizza parlor. You'd be a great businessman if you served anchovy pizza, even if you hate it. Because owning a business and running a business is never about what we like. It's about what our clients like, right? So we're going there. Pizza, anchovy pizza, all right? Belize is a country. Ambergris Caye is a tiny little island off the coast of the country. But look at that statistic right there. 70%, 70% of all the tourism revenue for the entire country of Belize comes from that tiny little island. And it's really the bottom half of that island. Location, location, location. You might say to yourself, I don't want to be where it's really crowded. I like secluded beaches. I want to live in the mountains. I want a vacation in the mountains. Good for you. You own a pizza parlor. You hate anchovy pizza. You better sell it if you want to be successful. The place to be successful in Belize, if you're in a business where you own a property that rents to tourists, is Ambergris Caye. Follow the people, follow the money. Ambergris Caye, Belize, there it is, just blown up in the map, okay? It's a cool little island. And It used to be all about fishing and diving, this niche market, right? You had, in fact, when I first started going there in the mid 90s, this is what I saw. I saw groups of men. I saw almost no women. And I would have to say no tourist kids. I mean, there are kids, right? People live there, have kids, but no tourist kids. Very few women. Lots of men coming down to fish and dive, staying in places like this, right? Having a grand old time. But that's a niche market. They're staying in cheap accommodations because they're getting up at 4 o'clock to go fishing. They don't need anything fancy, right? Or the divers, they're staying somewhere cheap so they can get another tank of air. They can do a night dive, whatever it is, right? The accommodations didn't matter to the niche market. But it's moved from this niche market to this incredibly vibrant tourism destination. Now we have weddings, women, couples, families with kids. Again, this change has happened. And it's incredible to see it happen over my tenure there of 33 years. Young people, old people, teenagers, honeymooners, right? People having fun. The market has changed dramatically, okay? Dramatically. But something hasn't changed. And we're going to get there in a second. Yeah, I mean, game show night at the truck stop, right? I mean, like, wow. I mean, it just like the place has changed so much. And it's important to understand what drove this change, right? How did it go from being this niche market of fly fishermen and divers to this incredibly mass market, right? If we understand why on something, we understand the important element. So let's get to that. So back 1986, Madonna released a song called La Isla Bonita, right? And she's talking about San Pedro, which is the little town on Ambergris Caye, okay? So this was the first real popular culture references to Ambergris Caye, the town of San Pedro. Madonna, 1986, okay? And then all of a sudden, in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000s, this show came out called Temptation Island. All right. I mean, just sort of one of the very first reality show. A bunch of couples, a bunch of individuals get thrown on an island and they see who hooks up and who can last together, right? Kind of a trashy show. But it was on, I think, CBS. I think it was CBS. Anyway, now you've got Ambergris Caye with a popular show on mainstream TV. And then Survivor decided to do a couple episodes in Belize, which they did. And again, probably CBS, I think. Anyway, but now we've gotten this country, this Belize into the popular culture. Madonna, Temptation Island, Survivor, cool, fun people, neat activities. Oh, Belize, I gotta go there. I gotta go there. Well, how do most people go their first trip if they're not so adventurous and never heard of it? They go on a cruise. They go on a cruise. So they take the Western Caribbean cruise, which stops in Roatan, Cancun, Cozumel, and Belize. Cruise ships started to deliver 3 to 5,000 people per cruise ship per day to the country of Belize. Now, I remember back, this is starting to happen in the mid 90s, late 90s in a big way. I remember the Hotel Association. I was on the board of the Hotel Association and also on the board of the Belize Tourism Industry Association. And the woman who was president of both of those was a colleague of mine on Ambergris Caye. And there was a big kind of push, especially on the Hotel Association side of why do we want the cruise ships? These people get off the cruise ship, they run around for the day and they get back on. They're not staying in my hotel. Right. And even the tour guides are like, yeah, and they don't pay us anything. They run their own tours. And the woman and I put up a very good argument to say, hey, it doesn't help us today, but some percentage of those people, when they come to Belize and they have a great time, are going to want to come back. And when they come back, they're going to stay in a hotel. But let's look at the demographic of who is a cruise ship customer. A cruise ship customer is not a serious fly fisherman. They could be, but they're generally not. They're mainstream travelers. And when they want to come back to a destination, what's the first thing they do? They go online and they look for a brand. They look for a branded hotel, right? because maybe they have points. Maybe they're traveling around in the US and Canada all the time, racking up lots of points at Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, Best Western, whatever. And so when they go online coming back from their cruise, like, and they say, well, like, we should go back there sometime. Let's go online and see if we can use our points. They're looking for brands. Well, there were no brands on the island of Ambergris Caye until 5 years ago. Until 5 years ago, right? And if you look at the market segment of middle class, Best Western serves sort of the low end of the middle class. Marriott serves the middle to upper middle class, right? Yeah, you've got Ritz-Carlton and Four Seasons and and all the other ones that serve that top, 1, 2, 3, 4%. But those two brands serve the entire spectrum of the middle class market, which are your cruise ship passengers, which are your mainstream travelers who are looking for certainty in the product they choose when they came back to Belize. And we, our company, grabbed the Best Western franchise for a property that's 3 blocks off the water, condominiums, livable condominiums. We said, you know what? We want to serve that middle class, solid middle class segment with a product that's affordable, 150, maybe $200 a night, depending on the season, right? That kind of a rate for that kind of a traveler who's looking to be near the water, but doesn't have to be on the water because they're looking for whatever, buck 50 a night, right? That kind of number. And we've built wonderful product for them. I think we have about 75 units done. We have another 28. This building will be finished up here in another couple months. This is the existing property, tennis court, swimming pool, fitness center, food and beverage, all the stuff you need to have in a resort, all right? But people can come and stay there for, 125, 150, 175 bucks a night. And you're 3 blocks to the water, but great amenities on site, right? The clubhouse, the swimming pool. But look at the affordability. If you wanted to own a condo in Cancun, Turks and Caicos, Cayman Islands, Bermuda, God forbid, right? I mean, you just stick, I mean, in some cases, you're times 3, 4, 5, 10 to that number, $150,000 for a beautiful condominium in a resort community 3 blocks off the Caribbean. This is the kind of affordability that we have in Belize, right? This is why Belize is in the sweet spot of the curve. You can't touch something like this in any of those other destinations. And you won't be able to touch something like this in Belize 2 or 3 years from now. These prices are escalating rapidly. So this is a product that serves the solid middle class marketplace. By the way, over the water tiny homes, over the water homes, $270,000, right? Again, if you're looking for investment properties, these two would be a pretty good choice. But let me show you what a lot of folks are excited about. I'm excited about, and we have a lot of folks that are jumping on board, and that's with Marriott. Marriott is the premier brand of all hotels in the world. They have the largest loyalty program. The Bonvoy program has over 200 million members. I mean, that is a staggering number, 200 million members in the Bonvoy loyalty program. And we talk about why Belize, why right now? This is your time machine. Belize is your do-over. Belize is, I wish I would have bought, one of the Marriott properties in Cancun 20 years ago. You can't. You can't go back 20 years in Cancun. But if you do it now in Belize, it's the same thing as doing it in Cancun 20 years ago. Belize is rapidly climbing this popularity curve. Mainstream travelers, the cruise ships are still coming. They're delivering more and more mainstream travelers who want branded product when they come back to a country. All right. It went from a niche market to a vibrant tourism destination. Now we have families and kids coming to enjoy all the same things, the water activities, the diving, the snorkeling, fun times. This is Belize today. This is why Belize is on fire. People are coming, and this is your opportunity to take the time machine back in time and do something today that you wish you would have done 20 years ago. When we had all of the money to finish the Marriott, we broke ground on it. This is us, our company, ceremonial ground building with a bunch of government officials. Really, really exciting. Here we are a couple months ago with the steel frame construction. We've come a long way even since this picture. The hotel is now under construction, some renderings of what it's going to look like. It's right on the ocean. And folks, look at that number. Oceanfront, full ownership. You own it. You have title to it. It's yours. Move into it and live in it if you want to. Most people won't, of course. Who wants to live in a resort hotel? But you can because it's yours. It's titled. You have title. It's yours. $350,000. Like this number is truly unheard of in the Caribbean for a product that's on the Caribbean in a branded hotel like Marriott. 350. By the way, every every one of the units in the Marriott qualifies you for a Belize residency, an investor residency. A lot of information there. Just remember, if you're looking for a second residency or maybe even a third residency, ownership of one of the Belize residences, the Marriott residences, qualifies you for the Belize residency program. So that's there. And to kind of wrap up, at the end of the day, we understand supply and demand very well. Scarcity makes the ultimate investment. I talked about 2 slides earlier, airlift and overnight arrivals to the country, and this one. Overnight arrivals, little different dates, but 2013, about 300,000 folks coming and spending the night, to 560,000 folks. The overnight arrivals in that time period of about 10 years went up 90%. Room inventory went up what? 36%. If you don't see opportunity in this, like, please just close the webinar and go away. Like, when you have this kind of scarcity, now we're going to layer on branded product, right? It's not just room inventory, it's branded room inventory to support the mainstream customer. This is absolutely incredible. The nice thing about scarcity is it's hard to replace it fast. The next element is alignment, right? Alignment is when the investor and the business partners are perfectly making money the same way. Marriott gets paid to put heads on beds, gross volume. They get paid to put heads on beds. That's how they get paid. The company that we've hired to operate the hotel, Highgate, they get paid on the profit. Marriott, they don't care about the profit. Well, they do, but really they don't. They're just trying to put heads on beds, and that's how they get compensated. Highgate, the operator of the hotel, gets paid a percentage of the profit. So they want to make the hotel as profitable as possible. And we, the owners of the residences, we get the net cash flow. This is powerful. And I want you to just look at these numbers. These are very conservative projections. If you would like to see the business plan, send me an email, info@ecidevelopment.com. We will send you the business plan. 1 year, first year ROI around 8. By year 10, you're starting to kick up around 18%. This is full titled ownership. You own it. You get the cash flow, you get the fee simple title, and then you get all of the appreciation of the asset. Starting at 350, financing available. Please send me an email. If you want to learn more about how you can capitalize on this incredible opportunity in Belize, this is your time to do it. This is your time machine wake-up call. Send me an email. We'll send you information on Belize. We'll send you information on the Marriott residences. info@ecidevelopment.com. I look forward to hearing from you. Mark, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Excellent presentation. We're just a little bit of past time here, but we had a viewer here. They're wondering, is the Marriott property, is it pet friendly?
Yeah, no, it's well, not. The rule is no pets unless you're an owner. If you're an owner and you're staying in your unit, yes. The guests who come and stay there will not be allowed to bring their pets. But if you're an owner and you want to come use your residence, yes, you can have pets.
All right, thank you very much. Well, Michael, thanks again for joining us. Let's do it again real soon.
Thanks, man. See ya.
All right, have a great one. And a big thank you to all of those in attendance today. You're watching Money Show's Virtual Expo, Real Estate Plays for Profit and Income. Stick around. We have more great content coming your way. We'll be right back with you.